It is Graham here, living the dream in July 2022, and of course we're at the Sandals Montego Bay. This episode is the first in our vacation diary series from the Sandals Montego Bay here in Jamaica. So come and join Fiona and I as we arrive here in Jamaica and then start to enjoy our 14 nights at this incredible resort. Wednesday and day one of our MOBAY 70 Nights in the Making adventure. You joined Fiona and I on board a Virgin Atlantic Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner from London Heathrow to Montego Bay, of course. And I did produce a full trip report for this flight. You just need to go back to video number 200. And you can follow Fiona and I as we navigate Heathrow in the chaos of July 2022 through to our travel experience in the Virgin Atlantic Premium Economy cabin. And if you're wondering where our awesome friends Michael and Donna are, they travelled out 3 days earlier on Sunday, and our original booking for MOBAY 70 Nights in the Making meant that we should have been travelling with them on that very flight. However, our eldest son Matthew dropped his graduation at Aberdeen University on us at rather short notice, meaning we had to make some changes to our travel arrangements. And back on the Virgin Dreamliner, Fiona and I were preparing to land at Montego Bay, where Michael and Donna promised very cold and alcoholic drinks would be waiting for us as soon as we got to the resort. And as we crossed the south coast of Cuba, less than 200 miles of the Caribbean Sea separated us from Jamaica. And Michael and Donna did manage to catch our aircraft in the distance landing from their lounger on the beach. However, I was disappointed they weren't off by now fetching our drinks. I suppose it is July 2022 and you just can't get the staff these days.
Well, a very warm welcome to Sangster International Airport, Montego Bay, where the local time is 6 minutes past 4 in the afternoon.
And as we pulled up at the gate, Fiona and I prepared to get MOBAY 70 Nights in the Making underway. And for those of you wondering why we've called this series MOBAY 70 Nights in the Making, well, it's very simple. Well, it all stems from the Sandals loyalty program, because after you have amounted 70 paid nights at any Sandals resort, you get 1 week free. And Fiona and I achieved our 70 paid nights when we visited the Sandals Grand Antigua in October 2021. And of course, our Antigua 21 adventure is fully documented here on YouTube. Just go back to October 21. If you wish to follow Fiona, Donna, Michael and I as we enjoy our autumn break at the fantastic resort that is, of course, Sandals Grand Antigua. Right back to Sangster International Airport at Montego Bay. There were absolutely no lines or queues at immigration, and our priority tagged bags, another benefit of travelling on board Virgin in Premium Economy, arrived at the carousel in only a few minutes. This, of course, was in stark contrast to all of the problems and challenges that airports were seeing back in the United Kingdom. And here at Montego Bay International Airport, Sandals even have an arrivals lounge, which is something we've only experienced before at St. Lucia. You do have access to some drinks here in the lounge, including one of the Sandals signature arrival cocktails. But Fiona and I were only in the lounge for about 5 or 6 minutes before we're being whisked off to our transport to the resort. When you are transferring between the airport and the resort, there are two modes of transport. There is a free bus service transfer, which is included in your Sandals all-inclusive package, or for an additional charge, you can travel in luxury on board the Sandals BMW 7 Series. And you guessed right, guys, because I've been living in Scotland far too many years, 25 to be precise, this very year. So Fiona and I were travelling between the airport and the resort on board the free bus. And if you go back to video 201, you can follow Fiona and I as we make the short transfer between the airport and the Sandals Montego Bay. The Sandals Montego Bay Resort is just the other side of the runway from the Montego Bay International Airport Terminal. And when we visited in July 2022, there was a lot of construction work underway as the airport authorities extended the runway in a bid to attract more long-haul airlines. It was a really short commute and we were soon arriving at the Sandals Montego Bay. I think Fiona could already taste that first cocktail, and I certainly was looking forward to my first red stripe. And it was about here Fiona spotted Michael and Donna waiting for us. The big question, of course, being, did they procure those cold drinks? And yes, they did. Well done, Donna and Michael. We were then led off to the Club Sandals Lounge to check in. The process only took about 10 minutes and we were soon en route to our room, which for the first 11 nights would be room 607. And of course I have done a full resort and room tour from the Sandals Montego Bay. You just have to go back to video number 202, where I take you on an end-to-end tour of this resort, including 4 of the rooms we stayed in during our 14 nights. Anyway, back to our arrival at the Sandals Montego Bay. We're off to room 607. And as we approached our room on the second floor of this Caribbean beach view block, we could see that our cases had even beaten us to the room. Well done, Sandals, but I was pretty amazed. That had never happened to us before in 9 years of visiting Sandals. Where are we? We're in Jamaica.
Montego Bay.
We're going to remake the cocktail movie. Who's getting pregnant? Don't worry, guys. I'm not sure that any of us are that capable of making the 1980s cocktail movie starring Tom Cruise. But our MOBAY 70 Nights in the Making adventure had well and truly started. Our plan right now was to get unpacked and then meet Michael and Donna for more cocktails. You've got to bear in mind, guys, that at this point in our vacation, with it only being day one, Fiona and I were not familiar with this resort at all, but we had agreed to meet Donna and Michael at the Latitude Bar on the Latitude Pier. And we believe we might have just found it. Big yellow bird.
Cheers!
And whatever cocktails these actually were, our MOBAY 70 Nights in the Making adventure had well and truly started. And don't worry guys, there will be plenty of time-lapse sunsets from the Sandals Montego Bay as our holiday diary continues. And back to Wednesday and day one of our adventure. We'd be finishing off this marathon day that started over 4,000 miles earlier at London's Heathrow Airport in the UK and would end tonight at the Bayside restaurant, which has sort of become the first night tradition for the four of us while visiting Sandals. And as we approach our table, this is where we're going to bring Wednesday and day one to a close. So if you wish to follow Fiona, Donna, Michael and I as we continue to enjoy Sandals Montego Bay as part of our MOBAY 70 Nights in the Making adventure, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon to be notified when our next video is published. But before we go in Wednesday, I did manage to achieve another first night tradition at any Sandals we've visited over the years, and that of course is French onion soup.
Here we go, first night, boys and girls. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Here's to a great holiday.
You joined Fiona and I on Thursday morning and our first full day at the Sandals Montego Bay as part of our MOBAY 70 Nights in the Making adventure. As usual in the Caribbean on our first day, we were up pretty early. Our body clocks probably stuck somewhere over the Azores, trying to get used to the new time zone. And for those wondering, Jamaica are in Central Time Zone, so that's the same time zone as Texas, which translates to the UK minus 6 hours at this time of year and the eastern seaboard of the US minus 1 hour. Right now we're heading to the Bayside for breakfast, which was our go-to for breakfast every morning except one. But those of you who have been to this resort before will be asking, why are you walking in the opposite direction, Graham? It's very simple guys, Fiona and I are up a little bit too early this morning, so we're going for a walk to explore this resort before breakfast. Guys, this is known as the main pool at the Sandals Montego Bay, and it will feature quite a lot throughout our holiday diary, because this is where Fiona and I spent most of our days enjoying the summer sunshine at this resort. However, you may have noticed that there's no towels in the towel station, and that is going to feature a little bit more throughout this vacation as we realise there is a real challenge at this resort when it comes to pool towels. And it took Fiona and I a few days to find a workaround. But as you can see, we have found our way across to the main block, and that means that we're very close to the Bayside now. And every day, bar one, when we had breakfast at the Bayside, we ate outside. At the end of the day, with weather this good, why wouldn't you? For those of you watching this video that have visited Sandals in the past, you will know that the Bayside in the morning is a buffet style restaurant. The first station on the right is where you can pick up pre-made pancakes and waffles. It is also where you can choose your omelettes to order. Other than that, the Bayside is pretty well the same as any other Bayside buffet restaurant for breakfast that you will find at other Sandals resorts across the Caribbean. Despite my less than athletic build, I don't eat a lot for breakfast, and I certainly never took took any of the cooked breakfast here on offer at the Sandals Montego Bay, but I do believe it's always very good. And with us being Jamaica, of course you're going to get Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee. And with views like this at breakfast every morning, hopefully you can appreciate why the Bayside was Fiona's and my choice for breakfast nearly every day. And as I said previously, the main pool is where Fiona and I spent our mornings and most of our afternoons too, sunbathing under the warm, beautiful Jamaican sunshine. Well, that was until lunchtime when Fiona and I headed to Dino's and Mariner's, which, being creatures of habit, we did every day during our MOBAY 70 Nights in the Making adventure. Cheers! So, come here. Where's Donna and Michael?
There's a special lunch.
They're at a Donna and Michael are at a very special lunch for very special people, and they're probably having very special food in very special company, and it's so special. Do you know what it is? It's top secret special. And do you think the food will be as good? Don't know. So here's to Donna and Michael's special secret lunch. I can guarantee you guys that Michael and Donna were not enjoying food as good as Fiona and I were at the Mariner's this afternoon. Our awesome friends had made it to Diamond status in the Sandals loyalty program, and as a result they've been invited to a special lunch for Diamond level guests only, leaving Fiona and I to enjoy our lunch at the Mariner's and Dino's, followed by the Paris Cafe. And when we met up with Michael and Donna later on that afternoon, we were glad we weren't Diamond guests. And even if we were, guys, we wouldn't have gone anyway. I think these sort of events that Sandals put on for their higher category guests are complete corporate rubbish. But for the rest of this holiday, we would be referring to Michael and Donna as the special ones from now on. And back at the pool on Thursday afternoon, I started to indulge in a little bit of plane spotting, something that we couldn't really avoid doing at the Sandals Montego Bay, but a little bit more about that in a future episode. Because right now, the pool was calling. All of the pools that we visited at the Sandals Montego Bay were really warm and were an absolute pleasure to step into. And later on that afternoon, Fiona and I headed back to a room on the veranda to indulge in another tradition that we do most afternoons around 4 p.m. at Sandals. And this afternoon, I actually do think I managed to hit an American walking past the room as I popped the cork. Cheers! Cheers! And on Thursday evening, I've no idea why Fiona and Donna decided to get dressed up, because we were just going to the Cricketers pub for dinner tonight. So, the best thing about Sandals Montego Bay, this is Colombian emeralds, guys. There is no Colombian emeralds. You can choose something here and they'll come up to the resort, and then you'll feel absolutely compelled to buy something at some ridiculous overprice. But this is it. Michael, is this not the best thing about Sandals Montego Bay?
I've got bad news for you, by the way.
What?
What do you think Donna's doing?
I'm thinking it's all out. I'm letting it run along.
At this point in the evening, I did say a very bad word, because there was a jewellery company displaying, well, funny enough, jewellery at the resort. We had realised that Colombian Emeralds didn't have a store on site here in the Sandals Montego Bay, but every couple of nights a jewellery store came up to the resort with this concession stand. And I'm delighted to report that the only time Michael's and my American Express cards saw the light of day was when we checked out of the resort. So tonight we continued to to the Cricketers pub. I know that I've said this on previous videos, but my GoPro Hero 9 is not very good in low light. So I'm afraid the video here from the Cricketers pub is not very good. But I should also state now that the Cricketers is one of the restaurants here at the Sandals Montego Bay that you don't need to reserve a table. And it is also where the entertainment moves to after 10 PM. So if you want to watch Fiona strut her stuff on karaoke night, you're going to have to stick with this video series. But tonight, Thursday, was all about a quiet dinner with friends, because as yet we'd not managed to book any restaurants. And as we left the Cricketers on Thursday night, the evening's entertainment in the open air lobby area was in full swing. As usual, I don't want to break YouTube copyright rules. So we continued on past the evening's entertainment en route to the Paris Cafe for dessert. And truth be told, guys, this was becoming another tradition of ours when visiting Sandals. Every evening we would go to the Paris Cafe for dessert. Well, unless we were eating at Butch's, which had absolutely fantastic desserts on the menu. And it's here we're going to bring this episode and our first full day at the Sandals Montego Bay to a close. Well, only after my less than successful attempt at a sunset time-lapse. Coming up in part 2 of our holiday diary, we're looking at one day only, and that of course is Friday, which I've called a day of failures. Because Fiona and I failed to find a lounger on the beach. Michael failed in his abilities to play football, unless you count destroying the Mariners restaurant a success. Fiona then failed to find a hoop in basketball, and truth be told, I failed at that too. Donna then failed at being camera shy, however, there was half a bottle of Pinot Grigio involved. We all then failed to find a Cuba. And then Michael failed again, this time to deliver us drinks. And then, if we had not failed enough on Friday, Michael and I failed to find any fish while snorkeling. So all of this to come in part 2 of our vacation diary. So you know what to do if you want to continue to follow Fiona, Donna, Michael and I, as we all continue to enjoy our MOBAY 70 Nights in the Making adventure. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon to be notified when our next video is published. So until then, thank you very much for watching.